She's so sweet like jasmine. I just gotta have it on you.
Here comes trouble, putting on a show. Like a domino, I fall. Another bottle, don't know what to say. Send me on my way to you. I know you're all that I want, but I don't even know your name. So don't go and leave me lonely. I'll show you another way. And you say it's a one-night thing, but I want something more than that. So don't go and leave me lonely. I'll show you another way. So don't go and leave me lonely. I'll show you another way. Eyes wide open, holding out for you. Tell me that it's true. Oh, did you notice? I saw you over there, looking like a heartbreaker. I know you're all that I want, but I don't even know your name. So don't go and leave me lonely. I'll show you another way. And you say it's a one-night thing, but I want something more than that. So don't go and leave me lonely. I'll show you another way.
the only pure thing in this world.
On December 19th, the world of Avatar will change forever.
There's something you're hiding. Tell her it is time.
From director James Cameron.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
Get tickets now. Movies don't get any bigger than this.
The day has come.
Avatar, Fire and Ash. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Get tickets now.
Picture it, your holiday table, the family cooking together, the scent of golden brown bread, rosemary from roasted potatoes, and a salad so crisp it snaps. This season at Kroger, make the moments that matter possible with quality that's affordable in every aisle. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You can save even more with lower everyday prices on over 10,000 items, now including select varieties of chicken, bacon, and cheese. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
From highways to bridges to parking lots, driving around town can be stressful, just like insurance. But having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting an easy trip door to door, and instead traffic is bumper to bumper. When you need real coverage for real life, State Farm can help you switch and save today. Visit statefarm.com and learn more today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Put you on a one-way flight. I can get you away tonight. You know I can change your life. First class, alright. Put you on a one-way flight. I can get you away tonight. You know I can change your life. First class, alright. Put you on a one-way flight. I can get you away tonight. You know I can change your life. First class, alright. Put you on a one-way flight. I can get you away tonight. You know I can change your life. First class, alright. Put you on a one-way flight. I can get you away tonight. You know I can change your life. First class, alright.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Hello. Welcome to the Hold My Pen Promptcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what kind of unicorn shit we get into tonight.
At all. We want to save the voice as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me close out some other stuff here. Bingo, bango.
We are prone to overheating. I really do need to get me a fan. Or, while Bubba's on one of his many escapades, he can find me one.
Okay, Leon. Who's gone again? Oh, shitballs. Okay, please hold. I think I know what's happening. Google Chrome needs an update. So you go ahead, Julie, talk away, and Patrick, chit.
Gotta love when, machines do machine things. And look, it's very rarely that we have scuff anymore. So, I mean, here we go.
We were due. We
are due. So that's why when stuff like this happens, we don't react the same way we used to react to it.
No, we sure don't. All right, I'll be right back.
All right, you do your thing. But for us, it was just like, oh, well, this happened. Oh, well, that sucks. Guess we're just gonna have to roll with it at this particular time of moment. We do have some really interesting announcements. I'm gonna let Izzy do those. I will not be talking as much as I normally do tonight. A few days ago, I woke up. I felt like I swallowed a porcupine. With the back end of razor blades. That's not what happened, but this is what we got.
Now, you eating porcupines now. I hear they're a delicacy. They taste just like chicken, but I don't want to find out.
No, I do not want to find out, and I would like to know which one I pissed off because I think he left a quill in the back of my neck. Either which way, I woke up yesterday. I was okay, but the cough had started. Not as bad, but when I got off last night, the cough was so bad I was turning blue. I got it to calm down. I went to bed. I woke up this morning, and I honestly woke up. This wasn't even the righteous side of, or wrong side of heaven, righteous side of hell. It was literally, I woke up on the wrong side of hell. So we have deducted I have a sinus infection, probably the beginning stages of an upper respiratory infection, and an ear infection all at the same damn time. So if I start coughing, anything like that, we just kind of ignore it. I did, however, find a new flavor of Red Bull I like, which is like if apple and ginger ale, or apple juice and ginger ale had a baby. And it is the Fuji apple and ginger. I'm not gonna get too attached to it because I know what happens when I get attached to things. They fly the coop. That's what happened with the freaking. They fly the coop. That's what happened with my tangerine. That's what happened with my pomegranate. A bunch of the ones that I've liked. So either which way, we're not sponsored, though I think I fucking should be. Just saying. Red Bull, if you're out there and you need a sponsorship, first of all, we have a writing group, and I drink enough of it online.
She really does. Not only do we have the Authors Pub, but we have the Hold My Pen Promptcast podcast.
If they're gonna sponsor us, so do these guys.
I mean, shit, no joke. No flippin' joke. I mean, I normally don't drink out of one of their bottles. I'm usually drinking out of my glass stein, but is what
I've
it
seen
is.
you drink plenty out of a bottle with that little cappy cap that
With
makes
the
it a
little
squeeze
cappy
bottle.
cap on it. But lately I've been doing way more Dr. Pepper than Dr. Pepper.
Well, your doctor's getting an assist.
Yes.
Definitely.
Look, and it's way cheaper. And it's way cheaper than going to the doctor.
It is. And had I had the ability to run up to my local liquor store, now mind you, for where I'm at, for me to run to the local liquor store, I have to go out to state line, which is between Tennessee and Kentucky, and go to the liquor store out there. I did not have time to go out to the liquor store. And if I did, I wouldn't sound like this right now. I can guarantee you I would not sound like this. So, just be with us and our voices tonight. We have a hell of a fucking lineup tonight. We do. We have a hell of a lineup. We have Cash. We have Leon. We've got another excerpt from Cuts and Cufflinks. And we have another Anonymous tonight. When we get up to that Anonymous, the Anonymous has given me a couple of things that they want me to announce, but I'm not going to do it until we get closer to theirs being read out.
Absolutely. And don't forget, because we did go a second night, the email plus the special email will go out tomorrow at noon Eastern. So keep a lookout for that in your inbox, especially the special one. We've also added a new channel specifically about tracking with TrackBear over there in the Discord. We've got Nutter has joined. So I think Patrick's made his account over there, but he hasn't added the leaderboard yet, hasn't joined the leaderboard. But right now we've got 3 people signed up to try to get to 1 million words. Also, please feel free to reply to that email if you think 1 million is too low for next year.
Mind you, I think for me,
I think it's too low. I think it's too low.
I think we should go 25 to 5. 2.5.
2.5 mil. 2.5 mil to 5. Somewhere in there. So
if we get the entire velocity of the Hold My Pen Promptcast, plus the entire velocity of which we've had a lot of crossover here recently from our pub, our sister server.
That way.
Yeah.
Sorry. On this screen, Julie's below me. On that screen over there, I'm not pointing the right.
Yeah,
you know
I'm
what I
never
should
pointing
do?
the right direction. Just kind of go with I'm pointing at somebody.
You know what, Julie? We're gonna have to get my face and print it out and have you paste it on the side of your screen that I'm actually at, so you can point the right direction, and I'll do the same thing.
Well, see, for me though, if I try to look over to do it, I'm still not pointing in the right direction. I gotta point the other way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, if I'm pointing this way, right? I am actually pointing at you on their screens. So if I put a picture of your face on that side of the monitor and I am pointing at your picture, then I'm always pointing at the right spot.
Yeah.
Where is the code to join?
Okay, find in the writing channels, there's one that says Tracking with TrackBear. Okay, and there's a post which is also pinned to that channel that has the links for TrackBear, it has the join code, and it has the direct link to the leaderboard that we're progressing. And of course, we can change the amount. The goals and things like that are adjustable throughout.
That's the whole thing. If we get real close to that goal before we go over it, if we get real close to that goal, we can up it real freaking quick. Nobody knows.
Yeah. I mean, last year, Kesh said that, or this year, she said that she's done like somewhere around 250,000. GT Gretz has said that over the course of this past year, she's written 500,000. I've written 50-some thousand. Closer to 70. I'm nearly at 75,000. So, I mean, Julie's got all of hers that she's written. Patrick's got all of his written.
This, so far from what I've actually entered, but it's not everything, from what I have entered into the tracking app for this year alone, 337,875 words.
See? So 1 million as a writing group, not what's read out on the channel, but writing group. We'd have 1 million by the end of March or April.
Well, for me, I have 127,100 words, even.
See? So when y'all get the TrackBear email,
yes,
feel free to reply to it with what you think, based on all those numbers and what you would like to contribute and everything else, what you think our goal should be. Should it be higher than 1 million? Should we hit 1 million and then up it by 1 million each time we hit the new goal? Give us your thoughts. We would not have this show if it weren't for you. This is closer to a democracy than the United States is right now.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, we take everybody's feelings and spoon power into
Into
consideration before we
consideration.
do anything.
Yep. Facts, facts, facts. So, without further ado, because we did what, 7? We did
7
7
last night.
submissions last night, and that was approximately 10,000 words.
Just over 10.
Just over. And tonight we have 4 submissions, which are just over 11, 12.
Yeah.
So, we got the long-winded people tonight. So, without further ado, let's start with one Ms. Kesh Butler, who unfortunately cannot be here tonight, out at a show. That's fine. She'll hit it on the replay. And if you are joined in the Discord and you have feelings about anything that Kesh has written tonight, she welcomes your feedback through DMs.
Yeah, she is looking forward to being yelled at later, so.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. And we are ready. Oh, no, we are not ready. I need to put her little nameplate across the bottom. There we go. All right. Quiet on the set. Whatever you're going to ask, the answer is no. The ringmaster was sitting at the desk in the Vardo he called home. The knock was semi-unexpected, come to his door, the ringmaster and his lead clown having had an argument a few hours earlier. Half the clown troupe had left. Oh my Jesus fucking Christ, it's the fucking clown troupe again. Oh my God. Fuck it. Ah! Okay, anyway, let's try this again. Half the clown troupe had left, leaving them with only 3 clowns to perform that night's act. It could be done, but with the amount of tickets sold in town earlier that day, there had to be a full performance of the circus. He tried to be fair to the performers in his employ, but he still had to manage the circus as well. Whoever it was knocked again. Harder this time. He stood and turned, taking the few steps it took to get to the door. What is it? He pulled the door open and yelled at the person knocking. It was Emily. Sir, the people from the town are starting to arrive. You asked me to tell you earlier today. She replied softly, her hands in front of the tulle skirt she wore over her leotard. She was always trying to evoke the look of a ballet dancer for her tightrope act. It made all the little girls' eyes glow when they watched her magical performance. I'm sorry, Emily. I thought you were... It's not important. Thank you for telling me. I will be out shortly, he said, looking around the circle of wagons where the performers slept and stored their possessions. I will start going around and talking to all the children, she replied and walked away. He turned around, closing the door. He took a few steps and took his tailcoat and put it back on. He looked in the mirror mounted on the back of the door, making sure that everything was in the right place and he looked presentable. He picked his top hat off the bed and placed it on his head. He was the ringmaster. He had to look presentable and put together for the show. He pulled the black satin gloves he wore over his fingers and picked up his whip and the riding crop he used for his horse when he first rode into the ring at the start of the show. He left the Vardo, locking the door behind him. He then headed towards where the animals were kept, pulling his saddle out to place on the back of his white mare, making sure that all the straps and harnesses were secured and where they needed to be. He placed his foot in the stirrup and swung his leg over the saddle and made sure nothing else needed to be adjusted before he rode out to greet the crowds. Satisfied, he spurred the horse to start moving. Let's go, Mary May, he said, and the mare slowly left her paddock and took him through the people gathering and playing the games and eating the food being sold from the concessions. He smiled and greeted as he slowly made his way towards the big top. This was his life. This was what made it worth living for him. He lived for the show. His show. He was the ringmaster. He reached the main booth by the entrance to the small fare that traveled with them when they went from town to town. He dismounted Mary May and tied her to the pole next to the ticket booth. A small soapbox sat a little out from the booth. There is where he would call the audience to the festivities for the night. He stepped up, bringing himself back above the crowd, accepting the megaphone that the ticketer kept with him in the booth. He nodded thanks to the man, who disappeared back into the booth, popping up in the window. "Come one, come all!" he all but barked into the megaphone. "Step right up and see one of the best three-ring shows this fine country has to offer." In his mind, he knew it probably wasn't true, but the people gathering to see the show didn't know. So what was a possible white lie if it was good for business? "Tonight, you will see death-defying acts that will excite the mind and thrill the senses. This is it, folks. This is the show that will amaze." The people were gathering in front of him, waiting to hear more. "You will see clowns to make you laugh. The beautiful ballerina Emily performing amazing stunts that will thrill and chill. You'll see lions, tigers, and zebras. Watch in amazement as the sheik shows off the exotics of his harem and camels. We even have donkeys. A few lucky kids will be chosen to ride in the show." That last announcement always set the kids off, begging their parents to get into the big top, to get the best seats in the risers, to get the best possible chance to be part of the show. "Don't forget, after performance, the show is not over. Oh no, do you dare to brave the Hall of Freaks? Only you can answer that question." He continued on for another 20 minutes, pulling in the crowd and directing them to the entrance of the main tent. It was almost time to start the show. The crowd began to thin out as everyone streamed into the cavernous flaps of the tent. The ringmaster stepped down from the soapbox and walked back over to Mary May. He untied her from the post and climbed back on, readying both her and himself for the procession of the performers. All the acts were lining up out the back entry to the tent. He looked over to the three remaining clowns, hoping that they could keep the crowd entertained between acts as a trio. Their act had always relied on the fact that there were 10 of them. He looked away and decided to trust them as the professionals they were. They would do their thing, and the crowd would love it. He then urged the horse to walk to the head of the line. "All right, are we ready? Let's go. Let's show them what Le Cirque de la Fantasy is all about." He spurred Mary May into action, squeezing his legs and urging her to start trotting into the tent. She began to move, each step forward moving the parade in and in front of the audience. They trotted into the main ring, and then he urged her to start a gallop and started circling the outside of the 3 center rings. He would do that while all the acts piled into the center of the tent, dancing and showing themselves off as a preview for the full acts. The crowd oohed and awed. They were ready for the show. Showing off, he jumped off Mary May while she still galloped in circles around him. He pulled his whip from the loop on his belt and swung it around over his head, snapping it in the air near the roof of the tent. Crack! He had spent years perfecting the wrist motion to get the whip to snap in the air above people's heads. Crack! It was his sign to the performers that it was time to return to the backstage area and ready themselves for the full performance. Crack! Everyone finished circling the rings and exited through the back of the tent. He quickly wound the whip back up and placed it back on his belt, running up to Mary May and jumping back on her and riding out of the ring, the lights going dark as he did. He halted the horse, handing her over to the animal handler. He then turned and ran back out into the ring, the spotlights roaming around the tent, trying to find him and reveal his presence to the crowd. He found the whip again, removing it and gently flicking it to the side, waiting for all 3 of the spotlights to find him and come to rest on him. They finally stopped, and he was bathed in their light. Crack! He flicked the whip again, calling attention to himself. Crack! The final one. All eyes were silent and watching him. "Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Le Cirque de la Fantasy, the best circus show that will ever come to this town," he announced. "For our first act, We have the one and only true lion tamer in the land. Again, probably not the truth, but really, who was going to check and call him on it? Please welcome to the center ring, Jungle Johnny and his menagerie of fantastic animals. The ringmaster announced as he walked out of the tent and into the backstage area. Jungle Johnny passed, his assistants helping him to manage the animals during the performance. Next up would be Emily, in her first performance of the night, her balancing act on the back of a galloping horse dressed to look like a unicorn. Once she finished, the clowns went on, and so on through the night. Emily was preparing to go on for her high wire routine when they heard the rumbling sound. Everyone stopped to listen while the magician was still finishing up his act. The ground started vibrating, and the animals started to get irritated and panicky. Emily looked at the ringmaster, worry on her face. Earthquake? She said as the ground started shaking. Screams from the crowd could be heard as people began to panic, causing a rush for the entry to the tent. Cries of terror from the children pierced the sounds of chaos that had erupted. Then the water came, and the mud, and Emily ran to the ringmaster and threw her hands around him as he grasped her, protectively turning his back to the coming water to hopefully save her from the tumult that was about to wash them away. I think we're going to see your mother soon, he said to her. I know, Father, she sobbed as the mud and water burst in, washing them and the tent away. I did not. I don't know if I saw that coming or I remember that, but Emily and the ringmaster, father, daughter. Oh my goodness. Okay. We ain't done. We ain't done. The storm was getting worse, but the town sheriff couldn't leave without figuring out what had happened to everyone who had been caught in the mudslide. He wanted to see if anyone had survived. His horse fought him, but he urged him to keep moving along the ridge and the rushing waters. He warily watched as the flow kept going through the canyon, downed trees and other debris from the circus that had set up in the flat plain at the base of the cliffs. The horse stepped, trying to not go any further. The sheriff sighed as he continued to just watch as more debris floated by. Then he saw the first of the bodies. Closing his eyes in pain as he realized that there were going to be few, if any, survivors. He looked up when he heard what sounded like a child crying. He scanned, searching for the source of the sound, finally seeing what looked like a door with 6 children clinging to it, all very much alive. I found survivors, he roared, getting the attention of his deputies who had stayed back away from the edge. They moved, their horses moving fast to try and keep up with the makeshift raft. How the kids had survived and found the door, neither the sheriff or any of the deputies could fathom. But once they were able to get the door to stop and rescue the children, they could have sworn they looked like they had been brought back from the dead. One of the deputies rode back to the town, getting help to take the kids away from the flood. One of the boys, as the children were being taken to the town barber to be looked over, started talking about a soul lord and how nice they were to let them come back to Earth. All the adults brushed it off and attributed it to shock from surviving the mudslide. I can't find anything wrong with any of them. All 6 seem practically unharmed other than the shock and some minor scrapes and bruises, he said after examining all of them. He shrugged as he looked at the sheriff. So now we need to figure out where they need to go, what relatives they have that would be willing to take them in. Can they stay here till I find them a safe place to stay, until we can find them homes? He asked, the barber nodding his head in agreement. We'll be back soon, he told the children, who all just sat, quietly watching the goings-on around them. My ma didn't come to the circus. She stayed home because she was feeling unwell. One of the girls finally spoke up. The sheriff stopped and turned to look at the children. Where do you live? He asked, the girl still seeming to stare back almost vacantly. I live in the house at the end of Chestnut Road, the one with the red roof. She placed her hand on one of the other girls, trying to comfort her as she started to cry. You look like you might need a hug, a third girl said, wrapping her arm around the one crying. I will be back. He left, returning shortly after with the girl's mother. Amy! The girl ran to her mother, her arms wrapping around the girl's shoulders. Ma, it was so scary, but there was a nice lady. She had a pretty smile and two voices. She told us to come back and grow. The girl explained to her mother, who looked at the other children sitting and watching their reunion. Do you know any of these children? Sheriff asked the mother. She looked at each of them closely, her face not displaying any indication of recognition. I'm sorry, I don't. But they can stay with me and Amy till they have been placed where they need to be, the woman offered, looking at all the children and back to the sheriff and his deputies. I don't see anything wrong with that. Thank you for opening your home in this tragic situation, ma'am, he said to her, bending down and taking a knee to look at all the children. Now, Amy's mother is opening her home to you. Please be as good for her as you would have been for me and my deputies. He spoke to them like a father would his own children. They all nodded. We'll walk with you and check in on you while we search for relatives willing to take you in. The sheriff reassured the children as they escorted the group to the house on Chestnut Road. Just when she thought she had finished crying, the phone rang. She stood up, picked up the receiver, and wrapped her fingers around the base of the microphone. Hello? She asked, her nose congested from the constant stream of tears. Hey, it's the sheriff. We've exhausted every avenue we can to find the last two kids' family, but we can't find anyone. I'm going to need you to care for them a little longer while we talk to the children's home the next town over. His voice filtered through the earpiece. I mean, don't do that to them. They lost their families and friends. Don't let them lose their community. I will take them in. Amy has gotten used to having them both around. She looked out the window to see the three children running in the backyard, in and out of the hanging laundry, drying in the bright sun of that warm afternoon. Are you sure about that, Mary Lou? He asked, seeming to be concerned with her decision. I'm sure. It gives me more to keep myself occupied since Jonah is gone. I'm enjoying having them here myself. You can check on them as often as you like, she reassured, smiling as she watched the boy, Edward, tag Amy. Well, if you think you can handle all three, we will definitely try to support you best we can. Neighbors help neighbors. There's a reason it's our town's motto, he said to her as she told him to enjoy the rest of his day and hung up the phone. Mary Lou walked to the back door, leaning on the door jamb and watching the children as they played, being children again, even if only for a short time. I do believe we just got the origin story of the circus from the hiker.
I do believe you're right. But damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, on one hand, we have answers, sort of, kind of, not really. And on the other hand,
We have more questions.
I have more questions than I'm ever going to get answers to because all I'm ever going to get is that goofy little smile she gets when she knows something we don't.
Yeah, well, and then let's add to this that the hiker story with the circus and the creepiness is still yet connected to Etlan and the dragons and everything because of the fucking Lord of Souls.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like
I know.
it's like she can't just write something different. Every time it winds up coming back around to Etline. Right now, I'm literally waiting for the other shoe to drop about our alien story. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop and the little blueies have some connection to the Lord of Souls. I'm seriously waiting for it.
Personally, speaking of little aliens, I'm waiting to find out if there's more to the cotton candy cult. If Dahlia is watching or hearing us tonight, because I do know that she does like watching the replay. I have too many questions about the cotton candy cult that we will probably never get answers to.
Dahlia doesn't need more emojis in the Discord.
You know what? I am the creator of this shit, and I don't even have an emoji, which either is a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't figured that part out yet.
Usually the emojis result from emotional damage. So, there is
That's a
that.
good thing. I don't have one either, so I'm happy. I'm innocent.
I mean, right now we have Dahlia has 2 different French toast because Char managed to put her name over top of the French toast for the second one, and we have a smoothie. And now Kesh has tentacles, and she will never, ever, ever live that down.
Negative, Ghost Rider. Which makes me wonder which way that's going to go for next week. Because she immediately, after certain ones were rolled last night, said, "Oh my god, I know exactly where this is going," and that now
I know, I'm scared.
I'm scared. But up next is Leon.
Leon, Mr. Sicky Sick, we hope that you get better soon. And he promises that this is the last of the vehicle bullshit he's going to throw at me to make me mad and consider disowning him. So, we're going to see where we stand. Nope, because I have not yet caused a severe emotional damage that, like, triggers. Okay, what do we got? Hey, where is Leon? Leon! One of my favorite movies of all time. Leon the Professional. Don't furrow your brow at me. Leon the Professional. It's Natalie Portman when she was very, very young. And, yeah. Renee? Jean Renee? I don't remember. Okay. Here we go. Unicorns are mean creatures. 1. Paris, France. I was inspecting the scene. Seemed like a very easy explanation, actually. I don't know why that kid would call upon me to inspect that, but, well, as I was already there, I might at least help them, right? Okay, are you ready to write it up? I said to the policeman. Yes, sir. I can understand English in a very heavy French accent, but I still understood him. You see, the unicorn stood there, right where I am, I added. Sorry, sir. You said what? The unicorn? He said, very confused. I decided to just forego the explanation at this point because obviously he wasn't going to understand most of it. Don't worry, just mark where I stand with one of your colorful little red duct tape, I said, and then I walked to a few meters near the window and pointed him to another spot to put duct tape on. Add a number to each and I'll write it down for you because this might be a little complex. I showed him a few more spots and he had numbers for each. I came back to my original spot and wrote the following. To my good friends of the Paris Detective Department of the DST. Unicorn was standing at 1 and quickly turned in a circular motion, creating a trace of blood you can see on 2 from left to right. The reason why it's a unicorn is simple. Given the injuries and blood pattern, the uniqueness of it being a corn from a unicorn is evident by the injuries that are not a slasher weapon like a blade and not really a blunt one. And also because of the various furniture on the scene and the occupation of the victim, 3, reseller of art. So the murder weapon is indeed a 50 centimeters or so unicorn sculpture not yet found. And given the injury, this sculpture is also weighing close to 10 kilograms, which means one thing. The murderer is not a small man, not in strength nor in size. Grabbing such a sculpture in one hand and wielding it like that requires a strong man. I have also found out that he probably wore gloves and they probably were made of plastic, so he has the necessary adherence to be able to do that. The reason for it being that no prints were found, but you can also clearly see that there was no efforts wiping any prints from the scene. So the murderer is a man approximately 1.9 meters, weighing around 120 kilograms, of strong constitution, and is a professional hitman hired specially for this task. Given that the profession of the victim is to be an arts dealer, it makes sense that this has to do with the recent theft of the Joyaux de la Couronne at the Louvre and an attempt at reselling it. If I'm not mistaken, that profile fits perfectly with one particular individual linked with the Georgian mafia, but you will need to pay him a visit to establish a link. In addition, you will be able to find said murder weapon mentioned before in the kitchen, 4, probably under the sink because the killer had to remove a few of the blood spatters he had on his clothes before he disappeared, and it just makes the most sense. Sincerely, Edgar de Malbusier. As I was finishing writing, I gave the letter to that young detective and started walking out. Oh, and you should look in the kitchen and specifically under the sink, I said to him as I was leaving. I heard him going and finding the sculpture and yelling some gibberish that would certainly mean, "How did you know?" And the answer to that is just because I know these things. 3. The girl was very thin, a little brunette, barely enough age to drink. Barely in age to drink. You could tell she had been crying until her eyes had completely dried out. The poor baby was living a nightmare that I had been explained about in a short email. Dear sir, I require your assistance here in the city of LaRue, where we have had a case that we cannot seem to really find any leads, and we could use a second look. I have mailed you plane tickets, and if you could enlighten us, this would be great. The situation is as follows. In a local cafe situated at the cross of 11th Street and Burke Street, a triple murder has been committed, which in itself isn't that strange, but one of the victims has been killed in a way that is just not possible. The other 2 murders are also from the same family, and both are cops. One was working undercover at the time, and the other one, his father, shot in the heart with his own gun. I have with me here the young daughter of the undercover cop that I cannot seem to make wait, and my own boss is very much breathing down my neck for not having found any decent clue about the identity or the motives of the individual that has been doing all of this in the span of a few minutes and then disappeared. So I'm guessing we need you for a moment. And since your agency has been advertising its help to all the international agencies like Interpol or the FBI, here I am. I'll be there at the airport to get you on Saturday. Morgan Kane. She was behind the cop, welcoming, if you could use that word in that context, welcoming us to that very small and very American airport just behind a tall and nicely dressed man that you could pretty much tell by his looks was in the FBI. I was accompanied by my secretary, Jasper, which I affectionately was calling Dr. Watson as a surname, mocking both him and myself for being some kind of real life version of the famous character from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He wasn't liking it one bit, always taking offense at the fact that he wasn't a doctor at all, and even less of a sidekick, having his very own thing going when it came to finding ingenious ways to get data from a crime scene that no one, including myself sometimes, was thinking about. And we would very much form a very decent pair of investigators and had done so for the last few years. Good evening. How were your flights? Morgan said as a rhetorical question, knowing full well a long flight between Europe and the USA is rarely anything but a long inconvenience. As good as one would expect. You must be Detective Kane, I suppose, and the young woman behind you must be the daughter, I presume? I am, said the young girl, but the detective cut her off. We should go to the scene right now. Sydney should probably go home, he said. I am not going anywhere. You promised me a miracle man, and I want to see it, she replied quickly, not missing a beat. As young as she was, she had a fire in her eyes that I had rarely seen before. I am sorry, but Jasper and I are pretty tired after this flight. We would rather get settled into the hotel and start tomorrow on a fresh head, if that's okay for the both of you, I said in the most diplomatic tone I could. The girl pouted a bit. The detective seemed to be very aggravated by the presence of the girl and turned to me. The context didn't allow me to get a smile out, but that was a situation that would be most deserving of one. Since nothing's happening tonight, take me to Izzy's place with your van, please, detective, Sydney said. It's not a van, it's a truck. I don't drive vans. Never have, never will, he replied. If it has four wheels and looks like a big cube, it's a van. Now please drive me, she added. The detective started walking with the girl towards the exit and turned to look at us, rolling his eyes once more. Okay, Jasper, time to grab a cab and get to our rooms because let's be honest, you look like you need a hug, I said. Those two need to start a comedic duo when it's all done. They might have a career there, Jasper replied. We grabbed a cab nearby that took us to a motel on the periphery of town, one of those motel in a square with a few parking lots in the middle. The manager got us both our keys, and we would settle there for some time. 2. I had mostly forgotten about that unicorn story until I woke up the next morning and started my daily routine. Exercise for about 1 hour, starting invariably with stretching the back, the legs, and the arms, and calisthenics, using doors, walls, table, and chairs to my advantage, using only my body weight, handstands, burpees, push ups, squats, chin ups, squats, and plank on an empty stomach, preferably. It is good to start the metabolism. I would eventually stretch a little to maintain mobility and those joints used to various positions and take a cold shower. It's a very brutal thing in the morning, especially in the winter, but it does work wonders for the body, allowing me to gain an immediate ability to focus and opening my appetite wide. I would then spend some time doing the very British breakfast with eggs and bacon. It's possibly the only culinary thing that I would allow myself to have that would contain some unreasonable amount of fat and sugar. But I had found an equilibrium, indulging myself in that way. I would be eating generally, reading the morning paper, trying to find a new mystery or the conclusion of one I had worked with, and today was my lucky day because I happened to get both. The paper mentioned the arrest of a Gregory Zevgevston with a photograph and mention of a murder with a unicorn recovered on the crime scene. And most of all, it led to the recovery of the famous Joya de la Couronne that had been stolen at the Louvre. I wasn't particularly surprised considering, but it was still a nice thing to see the follow through. Another article grabbed my attention. A very dark story in the USA in a small city. Two dead cops and a girl, possibly a serial killer hunt, but most of all, no motives, no traces, and no identity for the murderer, which is a rarity in this social network and internet age. I didn't know it yet at this point, but this was going to occupy the better part of the following few years of my life. I had always marveled at the puzzle solving and what it required, being able to visualize and think chronologically, picturing a movement after the fact, seeing its consequences, its requirements. It was such a hobby of mine. I had started an agency a few years ago with a family friend, Jasper Murdoch, having for a goal to help the police see what only I could see. Jasper was also equally talented in the field, having a passion for data and a keen ability to know about and use recent technologies to do so. As I was finishing my journal, I would get dressed and start my day, finding Jasper at the office waiting for me. Have you read the journal this morning? I said to him instead of a proper greeting. Hello to you too, Edgar. Why do you have to be such a pain sometimes? I don't know, my good doctor. Things are how they are for a reason. So, did you read the journal? I did read the paper. And can you call me Jasper, please? Aren't we done with that joke? He said, rolling his eyes. So, what did you think about it? Fascinating, right? Yes, the unicorn under the sink, straight out of Cluedo. No, I mean that thing in America. I think they will be calling us about it. The USA? Those cowboys never ask help. They would rather fail on their own. I think this one is different. I cannot quite put my finger on it yet, but there is something about it. If they call, we will go, but I wouldn't mind if they don't call. I'm perfectly happy staying in good old England. Oh, I know, good doctor, your comfort zone. Edgar, stop it, please. Same big old story. Same big old story with the serial killer and everything. Still first person, but from the detective's point of view. Nice little swapperoonie. And it definitely has a different voice. You know, a lot of times we talk about it where characters all start to sound the same. They all sound like the author, right? And Leon has done a very good job for for dealing with a language barrier, English being a second language, to be able to make this detective sound like a completely different person entirely than the serial killer. Very nice job, even if it's in first person. Like that can be a challenge. So yes, 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 yes. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Now I did see that there was a pop up there. We have been on for about an hour. Uh, I'm empty. So, we're going to take a quick break, real quick, get a refreshment, use restroom, refill your snacks, because we've got Julie and our anonymous up next.
That we do. That we do. Leon, bravo, bub. Though if we intend on staying on Izzy's good side, might not want to quote her directly. But you did it right. If you're gonna quote her, get it all right. So that's always a lot of fun. And yes, I am up next. Then Anonymous 5. That's gonna be a lot of fun here in a minute. Uh, no, Anonymous 5 is not Anonymous 4. Though Anonymous 4 did just pick a pen name last night. So we will be announcing that next week what name they have chosen to go by on the show. Very proud of them. We have anonymous viewers and submitters from time to time. And as such, a lot of times they just want a fresh perspective and understanding. Thank you, baby. Yep. A fresh perspective and fresh eyes on what they're working on, so they know whether or not they should be continuing with it. And they don't want it tied to their name just yet, just because, hey, it's either embarrassing or it's not embarrassing, or they'd rather an unbiased opinion. And that's what we give people, unbiased opinions. Personally, I would like my cold to take an unbiased leap away from me. But at least I'm not sitting up here. Yes, the unbiased opinion. Right. Absolutely, Izzy. Absolutely. Izzy says, but it also removes the preconceived idea based on who wrote it. And I think that's what we're going to do for one of the months coming up in 2026, is we're going to have an entire, I think it's one or maybe two of 1 month that will be us not telling you who wrote it, and seeing at the end of it if you can guess. See who you think wrote it. See who it came out of. I know that is one thing that we have
That'll
been
be fun.
That is going to be fun, and it's gonna start a war in the comments. But guess what? The more engagement we get, the less ads we get. People don't understand
that. That means I'm gonna have to definitely plan ahead and make sure when we start this, it's a whole new story, so y'all don't have a clue.
Well, I think that's what it's going to end up being. Is we're going to have a everybody starting something new, and go from there on that. Of course, as of right now, yeah, fresh ink. Yeah, right there. I couldn't remember what it was called, which is January, by the way. Yes, CD, you are required more than anybody to comment because, in your own words, not in mine, not in anyone else's, in your words, you don't write. Not like that, at least. So, in that process, yes, you are required to be in the comments. You are required to be the cheerleader down there and keep things running. So, yeah. Yes. And it's going to give us new perspective. Plus, with all the things that a lot of us have learned over the year, I understand that, Trisha, but guess what? You can pull one of those whips that we haven't heard in quite some time and put it out there. As long as it's not Love Bug, because we know Love Bug. Well, Sadie, this would be the time in which to start throwing it out there. And we're going to be very, very happy to see it.
I'm thoroughly concerned because I walked in from the porch and I heard my middle spawn yell a name and then impregnate that man. I don't ask. I don't ask. But yes,
who are we?
And it may be. I don't know. I don't know. We're just. But for context, that is the plan. We've got something special planned for December. Solstice Scribes. Okay. And then we've got January, fresh ink. So start thinking about it now. What I think we might do, and this is something that we have to confirm with the team yet, but not releasing who did what until the end of the month. Okay. Just simply, you can have your theories and who did what and what was the, thing. We will keep track of who did what, obviously, because we see your emails. But Julie and I know how to keep secrets.
Yeah, that we do. We're
We know how to
very
keep
good at
secrets.
it.
Like, literally, yes. It makes me physically ill to lie. Makes me physically ill to lie. I work on honesty and truth. What you see is what you get. Yes, I might exaggerate what I'm feeling for performance purposes, but if you ask me a direct question, 90% of the time, I must tell the truth. The other 10%, I say I am not at liberty to say.
We are not at liberty to discuss.
Yes. This is how I save my soul. see. Well, and that's fine, Trisha, because I need a whole. I'm going to put a bookshelf right here next to my paper shelf, and that bookshelf will have all of my physical TBR, all books that I have not yet read, and the top shelf hopefully will be all of my indie authors. Right now I've got a bunch of your guys' books right here just so that way I can Vanna White them. That was what I used to be known for on TikTok, Vanna Whiting books. I would be up in a box holding up the book while the author was in another box talking about the book. And that way they didn't have to cover their face. They could be talking and there was the picture the entire time, and you can associate the words that were coming out of the author's mouth with the picture of the book. Yeah, I don't Vanna White as much these days, but I still do on occasion. Pull it out. Okay. So, next up, one Julie DeFisher, who had to go back in and go, oh gosh, I get a little bit more time. Let me adjust. Because, Julie's been feeling the imposter monster for quite a bit lately, but we know she's good. She's good. She's gotten so much better in these last 2.5 years, 3 years that I've known her. Very proud of you, Julie. Cuts and Cufflinks. This chapter is entitled Smoke and Silence. If it behaves. There we go. The house was too quiet when Cassian woke before dawn. The kind of quiet that didn't mean peace, but amplified the absence of everything that should have been said, which now hung like an anvil on thin string. The house had the kind of stillness that came after a storm, too calm, too deliberate, like it was pretending it hadn't stood witness to what happened with a growing static charge. He hadn't slept, not really, drifting in and out between the scrape of her footsteps down the hall and the sound of her bedroom door clicking shut. He'd waited for something, anything, to break the distance she'd thrown between them. The silence stretched until even the walls felt like they were holding their breath, making it harder to breathe. Cassian had given up on sleep somewhere around 4. His sheets and pillows somehow smelt like her, and that alone was enough to keep his head spinning. By 5, he was in the kitchen, barefoot and shirtless, staring at the coffee maker like it might tell him how to fix the mess between them. When the morning light leaked through the blinds in thin gold lines cutting across the floor, his head throbbed from too much thinking and not enough sleep. The coffee maker sputtered and hissed to life, breaking the silence. He wished the smell of the freshly brewing coffee could drown out the taste of her, the feeling of the way she'd kissed him back like she wanted to burn down every line between them. As the memory played on loop in his head, Cassian exhaled, rubbing a hand down his face before pushing off the counter. He wasn't sure if this would make things better or worse, but he had to try. He reached for the skillet, setting it on the stove, and grabbed the carton of eggs. It wasn't much, but it was something. A truce offering wrapped in bacon, eggs, and caffeine. The smell of coffee drifted through the house, curling under doors, sliding down the hallway. He figured it'd draw her out eventually. If not the scent, then the sound of him moving around her space. He poured 2 mugs, hers black, his the same, and set them on the counter. Sunlight was bleeding heavier through the blinds, dusting the counters in gold when he finally heard the soft pad of bare feet behind him. Morning, he said, voice low but steady. He didn't turn right away, just flipped the eggs and waited for her to answer. She didn't say a word when she came into the kitchen, just leaned against the other side of the counter, hair a little wild, eyes still clouded from a night that hadn't offered rest. Cassian caught a glimpse of her image, the dangerous, almost murderous look on her face. He didn't look up right away to meet her gaze. He didn't need to. The shift in the air, the weight of her silence was all the confirmation Cassian needed to assess the situation. He slid a mug across the counter, the black coffee steaming between them. It's fresh. He kept his voice quiet but certain, like peace could be offered in caffeine and familiarity. Riot reached forward, fingers curling around the mug's warmth. For a second, she just stared down into it, then brought it to her lips. The first sip hit strong, bitter, grounding. Cassian knew that look all too well. Only after the caffeine hit her soul did she finally speak. Didn't take you for the up before dawn type, she murmured, voice rough around the edges. Cassian gave a faint huff of a laugh, still facing the stove. Didn't take myself for a lot of things lately. The spatula scraped softly against the pan. Figured I'd at least try to start the day without us killing each other. You look like you need a hug. Riot arched a brow, sipping again. Guess we'll see how long that lasts. Cassian fucked up. The smell of eggs and toast filled the kitchen, low sunlight cutting through the blinds in clean stripes. The silence wasn't heavy this time, it was familiar. Cassian plated the food, setting one in front of her before sitting across the counter. Riot gave him a quiet look, somewhere between surprise and amusement. Didn't think billionaire types knew how to make breakfast, she said, poking at her eggs. He smirked. Didn't think mechanic types would actually eat it. Her lips twitched. Guess we're both full of surprises. They ate in relative peace. Between bites, conversation found them in small, careful fragments. Safe topics mostly. The weather, shop, Bishop's bullshit schedule. After half an hour or so of mundane topics, Cassian leaned back on his stool, nursing his coffee. You ever slow down? Riot shrugged. Slowing down's just another way to fall behind, and I can't afford to fall behind. He nodded once, like he understood that too well. Yeah, maybe that's why I haven't slept in 2 days. That earned him a glance, something gentler than before, for a breath. When she finished eating, she slid off the stool, rinsed her plate, and grabbed her jacket. Cassian frowned. Where are you going? Nowhere. She snagged the pack from her back pocket and pushed open the screen door. A few minutes later, he followed, leaning in the doorway as she lit up. Morning air still carried a chill, smoke curling in thin ribbons against it. What are you doing? He asked. Riot exhaled slow, eyes on the horizon. I don't smoke in the house. Cassian crossed his arms, watching her profile. Considerate of you. She half smiled, smoke curling out the corner of her mouth. Don't get used to it. Cassian didn't stay in the doorway. After a moment, he stepped down onto the porch beside her, the boards creaking under his bare feet. Riot didn't look at him right away, just watched the way smoke bled into the air like fog lifting off the fields. You always up this early? He asked, voice low as if the world itself was watching. She smirked without turning. Shop habit. Mornings are quiet, easier to think before the world starts yelling. He hummed, looking out over the long stretch of gravel drive and trees still dripping from the storm. And what are you thinking about this morning? Nothing that's going to change, she said, flicking the ash over the railing. Then quieter. Trying not to think usually works better. Cassian's eyes lingered on her profile, the stubborn set of her jaw, the weary defiance. You're allowed to stop fighting the ghost for 5 minutes, Riot. She snorted. You say that like I know how. Neither of them spoke for a bit. The breeze shifted, carrying the smell of white pine and diesel from the old truck parked down the drive. When she ground the cigarette out in the ashtray, she leaned on the railing, elbows propped, the tension starting to bleed out of her shoulders. So what's the plan for today? she asked, half turning toward him. You got some billionaire brunch meeting or something? He gave her a look. Not today. Bishop texted earlier. Nothing has changed. Flight's still delayed. Weather out east instead of here for once has everything backed up. Guess that makes us both off the clock for another day. Riot groaned. Perfect. He arched a brow. You say that like it's a bad thing. Because it is. She pulled her phone out of her jacket, thumbed a quick call. If I sit still too long, I start breaking things. Cassian smiled faintly at that. On the second ring, Rust Creek's night shift dispatcher, Vega, answered. Riot turned away as she talked, voice softening just a fraction. Yeah, it's me. Just checking in. Yeah? No, I'm not back yet. You keeping eyes on the shop and the cabin? She paused, jaw tightening. Flooded? Which roads? Another pause. Both? Shit. Cassian's head tilted. He could hear the frustration in her voice, low and sharp under her breath. All right, you keep 'em locked and watched, she said finally. I'll call again tonight. Thanks. When she hung up, she exhaled hard, fingers drumming against the railing. Let me guess, Cassian said. Bad news? Couple main roads are underwater. Dam broke loose, she muttered. Said it's going to be at least a few days before they open 'em up again. Guess I'm stuck here a little longer than planned. His mouth twitched slightly. I can live with that. Riot shot him a warning look, though it lacked its usual bite. Don't get smug, Locke. I've got tools in that garage and a short fuse. He chuckled, pushing off the railing. Then I'll make sure the coffee stays strong for my little blue-collar unicorn. Her lips curved despite herself. You do that. The quiet that followed wasn't uncomfortable, just slow, steady, and filled with the sound of dripping eaves and distant thunder rolling somewhere over the hills. They lingered in the silence that followed, the kind that didn't demand anything from either of them. The morning air was cool against bare skin, still heavy with last night's rain. Riot tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, fingers brushing the faint bruise at her temple from the week before. Cassian noticed but didn't comment, slipping her empty mug out of her hand and set it beside his on the porch rail. Storm did a number on this place, she murmured after a moment. You hear it last night? I did, he said. You didn't. She shot him a look. You are counting how many times I woke up now? Only once. His mouth softened. You settled after that. Riot looked away, biting the inside of her cheek. You could have just gone back to bed. I did, he said quietly, eyes still on her. Eventually. The admission hung there between them. Not heavy, honest, and she hated that it made something inside her chest stutter. Cassian leaned against the railing, arms folded, his shoulder brushing hers as he shifted his weight. She didn't move away this time. You ever stop? He asked suddenly. Her brow furrowed. Stop what? Running headfirst into things you can't fix. She smirked faintly, the expression almost fond. You say that like I got a choice. There's always a choice. Riot scoffed, flicking her lighter open and closed, even though the cigarette was long gone. Not for people like me, Cassian. You keep patching what's left until it breaks again, and when it finally does, you just learn how to breathe around the cracks. He turned his head, studying her. You really believe that? She didn't answer, not right away. Then quietly, it's easier than hoping for something better. Cassian didn't push. He only nodded once, like he understood, and let the moment rest. The wind shifted again, catching the edge of her hair and brushing it against his arm. He caught himself before he could reach for her, before he could let the impulse show. Forecast says the rain's supposed to clear by tomorrow, he said finally, his voice the steady kind that filled the silence without crowding it. If the roads open up by Monday night, you'll be back to Rust Creek before you know it. Yeah, she said softly, though her tone didn't sound as sure as her words. The quiet came again, thicker this time, but not cold. For the first time in a long while, neither of them felt the need to fill it. Cassian's phone buzzed against the porch rail, cutting through the stillness. Riot gave him a sidelong glance as he checked the screen. Mom. He sighed quietly. Give me a minute. Sure, she murmured, flicking her lighter shut. He stepped a few feet away, but not far enough that she couldn't hear his tone shift into something softer, steadier, one reserved for the woman who'd raised him. Hey, Ma. Cassian, darling. Her voice was warm and brisk through the speaker, layered with the kind of polite insistence that meant she was already planning something. I was hoping to catch you before the day got away. How are you? How's Sabrina? She's good, he said, glancing over his shoulder at the woman perched on the railing, smoke curling around her. We're doing all right. I'm glad to hear it. It's been far too long since I've seen either of you. I was thinking, why don't we do dinner tonight? You can invite her family, if she'd like, or just the two of you here. I can have something catered, unless you'd rather host, of course. Cassian hesitated, catching Riot's eye. She raised a brow, exhaling smoke through her nose like a dragon about to burn down whatever plan his mother was cooking up. Tonight? He asked carefully. Yes, dear. It's been nearly 2 months since the wedding, and with Thanksgiving coming, your grandfather is already insisting on his yearly calendar nonsense. Better to get ahead of it. He went slightly. Ma, that's short notice. Oh, nonsense. You two are newlyweds. You should be together, not hiding in that big house in Shelbyville like hermits. Her tone softened. Besides, I want to see how married life is treating you both. You've been working too hard again, haven't you? He didn't answer, which was an answer for his mother. All right, she said briskly, sensing his pause. Dinner at 7. I'll bring dessert. And Cassian? Yeah. Don't forget to tell Sabrina I'm very much looking forward to seeing her. When the line clicked dead, he rubbed a hand over his jaw, pocketed the phone, and looked back toward Riot. Let me guess, she said dryly. Family dinner. He nodded. My mother's cooking up some kind of ambush. Riot stubbed out her cigarette, giving him a look that was half amusement, half dread. You tell her I'm working? I tried, he said. Didn't stick. Of course not, she muttered. Your mom still refuses to believe I know how to use a wrench. She likes you, Cassian said, lips twitching. Yeah, tell that to your grandfather. Pretty sure he'd rather feed me to his stock portfolio. Cassian smiled faintly, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. He doesn't get a say. Her gaze softened for a flicker of a moment. You really believe that? He did, but he also knew his family. And somewhere between his mother's gentle meddling and his grandfather's obsession with control, the evening was going to test every fragile line they'd drawn between what was real and what was for show. So, are we headed to Nashville? No. Cassian dragged his hands across his face. Your mother's coming here? She asked, halfway between a groan and a growl. Dinner at 7, he confirmed, scrolling through something on his phone. She's bringing dessert. I offered to handle dinner. Riot blinked. You offered? He looked up, lips twitching. You want my mother judging your choice in takeout? She sighed, dragging a hand through her hair. You've got a point there, Locke. Sorry, we are not done yet, but oh my. I gotta stand up for the rest of this shit. Whew! Holy shitballs. Cassian done fucked up. I don't know what he did. I don't remember what he did to fuck up, but he done fucked up. Now he's trying to be all nicey nice and throwing his mother at her. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. I'm not even Catholic, and I'm sitting here going, pray for the riot.
Neither am I, but it still gets the point across.
It really does. By the time afternoon rolled around, the Shelbyville house was transformed. Cassian moved through the kitchen like a general prepping for battle. Clean counters, simmering sauce, the sharp scent of herbs cutting through the air. Riot had been banished from the kitchen twice already for trying to help, which was fine by her. She'd spent the last hour in the living room rearranging things that didn't need rearranging. When he finally caught her in the act, hands on the throw pillows, scowling at the coffee table, he leaned against the doorway and said, "You know you don't have to impress her, right?" Riot turned, one brow arched. "Oh, I'm not trying to impress her. I'm trying not to give her more ammunition." "She likes you." "She pities me," Riot corrected. "And your grandfather hates that I don't fit in his curated little world." Cassian studied her for a moment, his voice softer. "You fit where you want to." Riot stilled, caught off guard by the weight of that. Then she smirked, breaking the moment before it could settle too deeply. "You're getting sentimental again, Locke. You sure you're not concussed?" He chuckled low and quiet before returning to the kitchen. "Dinner in an hour, Mrs. Locke. Try not to bite anyone before dessert." The knock came at 7 on the dot. Cassian's mother swept in first, elegant, polished, and warm in the way only women with iron wills could be. The younger sisters followed behind, Grace, all sharp wit and quiet loyalty, and Elena, the baby at 21, bright-eyed and armed with a mischievous smile. "Cassian, darling," his mother cooed, kissing his cheek before turning her sights on Riot. "Sabrina, you look lovely. Marriage suits you." Riot forced a small, polite smile. "Thanks, Mrs. Locke." "Oh, please, it's Elena." I thought Elena was the daughter. Okay. Anyway, right, Riot said. "Habit." Dinner started pleasantly enough. Cassian's mother asked about work. The sisters teased. The house filled with laughter and clinking glasses. But it couldn't last. Not with Mrs. Locke's observant eyes. "So," she said sweetly, sparing a roasted carrot, "how's married life under one roof treating you both?" Riot's fork paused mid-air. Cassian's jaw flexed. "It's good," Cassian said, the practiced charm sliding easily into place. His mother's smile widened. "That's wonderful to hear. I was a little surprised when your grandfather mentioned you'd kept both suites in Nashville and Memphis. I told him it's perfectly normal for couples to have space, but you are sharing a room here, right?" The silence that followed was the longest 2 seconds of Riot's life. Grace snorted into her wine. Elena elbowed her. Cassian cleared his throat. We hadn't gotten around to." Mrs. Locke's brows lifted. "You mean to tell me you're married and sleeping in separate rooms?" Riot set her fork down. "We're still figuring some things out." "Like proximity?" Grace murmured. Riot shot her a glare sharp enough to skin paint. Mrs. Locke wasn't unkind, just disappointed in that way only mothers could be. Well, darling, I suppose every couple moves at their own pace. Her eyes flicked between them. Though, if you ask me, distance can be a dangerous habit. Cassian's voice was quiet but sure. We're working on it. Riot pushed back her chair, reaching for her glass. More wine? Please, Grace said, grinning. Cassian's mother sighed. You're both so stubborn. You remind me of your father. That pulled the air out of the room like a slow leak. Cassian's expression softened for half a second before he excused himself to the kitchen. When he was gone, Mrs. Locke turned her gaze on Riot, her tone soft but pointed. He's loved you for a long time, you know. Maybe not from the start, but long enough to lose sleep over it. Riot blinked, startled. Excuse me? Mrs. Locke smiled faintly. You can tell when a man's fighting himself. You've been fighting, too. Just don't let pride ruin something that could save you both. Riot managed a smile sharp enough to pass for sincerity. We're fine, really, she said, swirling the last sip of wine in her glass. I'm up before dawn most mornings, and Cassian's usually still working when I crash. I'm a little messy when it comes to my space. He's very particular about his. It just works better this way. Mrs. Locke gave her a knowing look over the rim of her glass. Convenience rarely builds a marriage, dear. Riot tilted her head, the corner of her mouth curving. Maybe not, but it keeps the peace. Cassian reappeared from the kitchen then, towel in hand, tension smoothed back into civility. Dessert's ready. The sisters helped clear the table, chattering about some charity gala in the state of Nashville's social scene. Riot stayed quiet, pretending to be fascinated by a spot on the tablecloth. Every time she felt Cassian's gaze graze her, something inside her chest twisted tighter. Mrs. Locke lingered after dessert, fussing over Cassian and pretending not to study Riot. When she finally rose to leave, she kissed Cassian's cheek and touched Riot's hand. You take care of him, she said softly. Riot nodded once. Always. When the doors shut behind them, the silence that filled the house felt too big, too loud. Cassian leaned against the door, exhaling like he'd been holding his breath for hours. That could have gone worse, he said finally. Riot arched an eyebrow. Could it? She didn't interrogate you about children. Yet. That earned her a small smile, the first real one since before dinner. He pushed off the door and started collecting plates from the table. Riot grabbed two and followed him to the kitchen. They worked in silence for a while. Quiet, methodical, almost domestic. It would have looked normal from the outside. When he reached past her for a glass, his sleeve brushed her arm. She froze. The air between them thickened. Again, with that current neither of them seemed able to control for long. Cassian looked down at her, something searching behind his eyes. You didn't have to cover for me back there, he said quietly. Riot didn't look up. I wasn't covering for you. I was covering for us. You mean the version of us your pride can live with? She turned then, meeting his gaze. And what version can you live with, Cassian? The one where I'm some docile little wife who smiles for the family photos? His jaw tightened. The one where you don't keep running from every good thing that scares you. That landed sharp, clean, right under her ribs. Riot's mouth opened, then closed again. Finally, she said softer, It's not running if I know where I'm going. He almost laughed. Almost. You keep telling yourself that. She stepped back, breaking the tension with a forced smirk. You should get some sleep, Locke. Big day tomorrow. You're really not going to finish this conversation. Exactly. You need your beauty rest. She reached for the last dish, rinsing it under the tap. I'll be out of your hair before sunrise. Right. Good night, Cassian. The finality in her voice was a door slamming shut. He stood there for a long moment after she was gone, watching the empty kitchen fill with silence. Down the hall, he heard her footsteps, the soft click of her door. Cassian leaned forward, resting his palms on the counter, and let out a quiet laugh that didn't sound like amusement at all. She says she's not running, he murmured to himself. But damn if she doesn't sprint better than anyone I've ever met. The house was quiet again. Too quiet, the kind of silence that follows when everyone leaves, but the air is still heavy with what wasn't said. The faint smell of roasted chicken and rosemary still lingered under the citrus cleaner. Cassian dragged his hands through his hair. He wanted to march right to her room and ask her what her problem was. He wanted to pull her into his arms and kiss her so hard they both would forget what air felt like in their lungs. But when push came to shove, things were different. And if he hoped to have a shred of hope to get near her, he'd have to restrain himself. Cassian finished locking up for the night before walking back to his room, staring daggers at her door as he passed, but never getting close enough to it. He sighed, turning the corner. "Good night, Riot," came out as almost a whisper. Riot shut her bedroom door with a sharp click, leaning back against it like the wood could hold her upright. She needed space, air, distance from Cassian's words, from the way he looked at her, like he could see every fractured line she tried to hide. The last 2 days with him had opened her eyes. But to what? Was he trying to get on her good side or keep up appearances? Even when they'd been alone, the world shifted and Riot could still feel his hands grazing her skin. Business. It's fucking business, Riot. You're supposed to look like you're in love. You're supposed to play the part, not let your thighs wet for a guy who's probably said the same damn thing to a dozen or more women this week. Riot pushed off the door, walking to the bed. Don't be stupid enough to let yourself feel with him. Riot opened her nightstand, looking for her charger, and froze. Inside was a small, plain white box, unmistakable in its intention. Her heartbeat stalled. Riot hesitated, then flipped the lid open. The first thing she saw was Tennessee orange, the bold tea, crisp and new, the same style as the one she'd once carried everywhere on every set of keys. The one Bear had teased her about for being ugly as sin, but very you. The one she lost the night the world went to hell. Her throat closed, but beneath the keychain, half tucked in cotton, was what hit her like a punch. A photo. Old, worn edges. Her and Bear, back when she still smiled with her whole face. His arms slung around her shoulders, grease on both their hands, the Iron Vulture's auto shop in the background. A life she'd buried under asphalt and distance. Her knees nearly buckled. How did you? She whispered, fingers trembling around the picture she hadn't seen in years. Riot sure as hell had never shown it to Cassian. How the last time she recalled seeing this picture was when she left the MC for good. Her own copies were buried in albums, probably at the cabin or in storage. A floorboard creaked outside her room. Cassian's shadow lingered, barely visible under the door, like he knew exactly when she broke. Riot snapped the lid shut, shoved the box deep into the drawer, and slammed it closed, too hard, too loud. She pressed her hands flat on the surface of the nightstand, willing herself not to let the tears fall. He wasn't supposed to touch this part of her. He wasn't supposed to know what they all meant to her, or recognize the girl she used to be. He'd been handing her back pieces she'd never planned on reclaiming. Riot couldn't tell if this was all malicious or he was trying to put a mirror up in front of her face, forcing her to see what she'd been running from. Outside, Cassian's voice came quiet, careful. Good night, Riot. She didn't respond. She couldn't risk the emotion spilling out. The silence was the only armor she had left, and she needed that one shred of dignity. Ma'am. I don't know if this is going to land. I don't know if this is going to land. I'm so worried this isn't going to land. I swear to fricking God. That is the okay. So in romance, we're so used to smut and Hallmark. Okay? We are so used to smut and Hallmark and the in between. There's not a lot of character development and the emotional side of like really working through the nitty-gritty, the dirt of relationships, right? And that's one thing that you do well is that you're looking at the dirt, right? It's not all rainbows and motherfucking unicorns. It's not. Marriage is hard. There's a reason I got 3 ex-husbands. Marriage is hard. And when all of those romantic, oh, flying on cloud 9 feelings go away, marriage is hard if people don't communicate and talk. And this is a marriage contract, business arrangement. And yet, they're doing whatever they can to make it work while also working with deep-seated feelings that neither one is really, truly 100% willing to admit to. You do the dirt well, Julie. I don't know if it's gonna land. I don't know if it's gonna land. What if it's not good enough compared to everybody else? Shut the fuck up.
And let's face it, most of marriage is not who's right, who's wrong, but it is definitely the how much can I tolerate this person for 5 minutes? And that's where that comes out is, you know, at this particular point in the story, they've only been married 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time in that 2 months they have been stuck in the same vicinity.
Don't feel sorry for Cassian, Leon.
Why are we feeling?
I mean, he does have a good, very, very valid point. 2 weeks ago, Leon absolutely hated Cassian.
Yes, he did.
And now he's going, damn, dude's trying.
He is. He is so far fucking past trying because if you, I don't know how much Leon got of the beginning of the story. So if I believe Leon's been here through it all, but he has been infatuated with her. He has been running for her for years past them actually
Meeting face to face.
yeah.
So,
And
yep,
what
we
started
will.
ego is
Uh-huh.
not much more than that. Come
Yup, yup,
on, you're
yup.
sitting down there with a shit-eating grin on your face. What's going on? Like, care to wait in on the conversation? Yes, you.
It's safer not to say anything.
There is the fact that there was a phrase there in Julie's that we're just gonna gloss right over. Y'all saw my face. Y'all saw my face. Well, we do get away with a lot more over here than we did on our previous. We are broadcasting also on YouTube. Both areas do say that they are not safe for children. But at the same time, we still want to be able to. So if you have not already joined the Discord, please do so. Hang out with us. Get the uncensored, unfiltered nastiness. I drop. If you think that I drop enough fucking F bombs around here, you should hear me uncensored. Because it's my favorite word. It's the most versatile
Uncensored
word
and
in the-
unhinged.
I am. I have no problem admitting that. None whatsoever. Okay. All right. It is the top of the hour. Again, we have one more. Anonymous 5. If you all don't mind, I would like to take a quick restroom break. And we will be back to finish this off with our Anonymous and your honest feedback.
Yeah, while you're gone doing that, I'm going to go ahead. Anonymous 5 needs feedback on whether A, they should continue this. B, if it makes sense. Knowing this particular writer the way I do, I believe it's going to make sense. And it's going to be very interesting. But no, not even I know what the hell is in Anonymous 5 tonight. But it should be interesting, and it definitely they were very giddy about it. So let's hope that everything plays out the way they're hoping it will. Personally, any story, whether it turns out to be a short story, a novella, a novel, whatever, I believe if you've got the idea, it deserves to be put somewhere. Where is up to you, but it deserves to be somewhere. So, answering some questions real quick. Yes, Leon. Riot's real name is Sabrina. No, it's not the virginity test, but it's the. You guys have been married for 2 months. Why the hell are you sleeping in separate rooms and almost avoiding each other like the plague? Though the mom does know that this is a contract marriage, so. As she herself entered the family the same way. Uh, it's like, yeah, even without the marriage, it's like, why do you guys act like, you love and hate each other all in the same breath?
Okay, ad starts in 6 seconds. Don't have a lot going on over on YouTube. That's okay. Over there. There it is.
A smile. That's what they want to see.
My 10 o'clock alarm telling me to take a shower. Holy shit, 11 pages? Fuck me.
Well, it does look like it's
Technically 10. There was extra. Yeah, it looks like there was extra carriage returns, and it is double spaced. So, okay.
it is double space. So I mean, you want to freak us out, double space something, and we'll think, what the hell? That's not the case.
But I
I
will say
promise
this.
it was not me.
I will also say this. Double spaced, though, does make it quite easier for me to read. Because default on a lot of different programs are 10 point, 11 point, 12 point font, and that still can be kind of tiny depending on which screen you're reading it on. And I got bifocals that don't work quite right, so
Okay, so you want me to make it 15-point font, double space next time. Gotcha.
sure, whatever.
Or do you need me to make it 20-point font?
Boy,
She's not that blind.
Love
I
you.
am not that blind. All right, ad break
Okay,
ends
sis.
in less than 30.
Yeah.
Six, 2, 1. Okay, ad break ended. Your community is back. I think there was also a request on this. Is this the right writer for this story? Is kind of the other thing. Like,
Right.
based on the writing, is this the right story for this author to pursue? That's kind of the other bit there.
Well,
That's why the anonymity.
come down to the author making that decision. I don't know if we can make that
No,
decision.
yes. But they were specifically very clear about it was like needing validation
Yeah.
in a way. So we'll see. Okay. Anonymous. 5. Sabine sobbed, breath ragged, her feet tucked under her on the toilet's edge. Then the door swung open and the chattering of incoming coworkers made the space too small. She quieted abruptly, holding her breath. She didn't need anyone finding her like this. Did you see Sabine today? Her head snapped up. Vera? Heels clicked past her stall. Oh my God, she looks so stunning in that suit. Oh, I know, that coral color is amazing on her, a second voice exclaimed. Is that Jasmine? The doors on either side of her hiding place rattled closed when a third voice grumbled. I'm actually jealous. I love coral, but it washes me out. And Susanna? What is going on? Glamazons don't praise. This has to be a sick joke, right? They must have seen me come in here. Oh, hush, Suze. You can wear true plum, so I don't want to hear it. Jasmine's voice came from Sabine's left. On her right, Vera's voice carried over normal bathroom sounds. Don't be a grumpy Gus, Susanna. She deserves a glow-up after everything. She whipped her head toward the voice. They know? Oh, I know, Susanna replied as a faucet filled the sink. I'm just being my vapid and vain self. Sabine's heartbeat surged through her ears, drowning everything into a low hum. She felt lightheaded. Vera unlatched the door and clicked out. Girl, is there ever anything out of your mouth that isn't about you? Another faucet sputtered to life. A soft pop, like a set of lips pucker popped after reapplying lipstick, was the only reply. A flush from the left side and a zipper before another door creaked open. Oh, sorry, we forgot. You are your favorite topic of discussion, after all. Another faucet. Sabine resisted the urge to sniff, waiting them out. Come on, chickies, let's get back to work, Vera clucked. Sabine waited until the door whooshed shut before sniffing loudly, a sob shuddering her shoulders. Her feet dropped from the edge, and she leaned forward, gulping air. If only they knew. Time stopped as she wallowed. Slowly, she uncurled from the seat and opened the door. She caught her reflection in the mirror and recoiled at the horror. Sabine stepped out and became instantly aware of a presence by the door. She halted, a deer caught in headlights. Jasmine leaned beside it, her knee bent and a foot propped on the wall behind her. She faced the floor, her arms loosely crossed over her chest. You okay? She asked softly without looking up. Sabine gasped. I I'm I'm fine. She stepped to the sinks, but stopped cold when Jasmine spoke again. You look like you need a hug. Her world broke loose, the sobs returning hard and pushing her forward to grip the sink's edge. She faintly heard Jasmine's foot drop and her low heels come closer. Sabine. Barely a whisper, soft, steady. She didn't respond, her shoulders shaking, her body too heavy to stand. Without hesitation, Jasmine reached for her, caught her. Oh, Sabine. Jasmine held her close, taking Sabine's weight with ease. I've got you, she whispered into the hair above her ear. The door's locked. Let it go. Let it all out. Sabine stifled her cries with a hand over her mouth, her other arm pinned against Jasmine's abdomen, its fingers curled up and around the other woman's hard bicep. Jasmine kept her aloft, safe from slipping to the floor. It's okay to fall apart. I swear I won't tell a soul. Sabine sobbed harder, relaxing into her strong arms. Jasmine said nothing, just squeezed her the slightest bit tighter. Sabine let the warmth envelop her, clutching the lifeline, fingers digging in with instinctive need. Soon her trembling slowed, her ragged breath normalizing, but she didn't pull back. Want to talk about it? Jasmine murmured against her temple. Sabine shook her head, a nearly imperceptible movement. Then we don't have to talk about it. Sabine's mind whirled. When she'd left her apartment that morning, Jonah sprang out of nowhere, yelling and eviscerating her. She'd been distracted all morning, the accusations ringing in her head. You took everything, Sabine. Just admit it. You stole Dad's money. That was my money. You had no right to any of it. You're not even his real daughter. And now, one of the Glamazons was holding her upright in the office bathroom? Unreal. Sabine pulled away, shifting to take her own weight again. The world felt thin, overstretched, but she was standing. She glanced at Jasmine's blouse, smudges and tears staining the buttercream silk. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Jasmine shrugged, her arms awkwardly dropping from around Sabine. She stepped back. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Are you okay? But I ruined it. At least let me pay for cleaning. She stopped, lamely, her fingertips brushing against the buttoned front as she lowered her hands. Sabine, it's fine. Jasmine's voice dropped to a deeper tone. Forget the blouse. Tell me if you're okay. Her gaze lifted, taking in Jasmine's pursed lips and eyes filled with concern. She sniffed. Why do you care? Jasmine's eyes widened, her mouth quivering as her lips parted to speak. Sabine. She stepped back as though slapped. Is that what you think of me? Sabine shrank. I'm sorry, it's just. She gestured lamely toward the door. You three are always wrapped in yourselves in office gossip. I didn't think you noticed anybody else. Jasmine barked softly in laughter. Oh, 'cause we're the Glamazons? She laughed harder at Sabine's shocked look. We mostly gossip about ourselves. Well, Susanna specifically. That girl has more bed drama than anyone I've ever met. So you know about the office nickname. Great. Sabine hung her head. The other woman stepped closer again, reaching out a knuckle to gently chuck Sabine's chin upward. Oh, we know. It's fine if people want to think we're mean girls. We don't get fucked with that way. She smoothed a stray curl away from Sabine's lashes, tucking it behind her ear. We've all been through tough shit, honey. We women should stick together, right? I wasn't expecting kindness. None of us do. Social conditioning to take it all without complaint. Jasmine cracked dryly, stuffing her hands in her pockets and leaning a hip against the sink next to Sabine. She nodded toward the faucet. You ready to head back out there? Sabine startled. She hadn't actually used the toilet, but Jasmine wouldn't know that. She washed her hands anyway, splashing water on her face. She looked in the mirror, her wild mane and raccoon eyes staring back. Oh, I'm such a mess, she moaned. Jasmine pulled a paper towel from the dispenser and handed it to her. Maybe take the day? Kendall would understand. Sabine took the towel and dabbed the worst of the offending makeup away. I don't have any more PTO. It's called bereavement for a reason, Sabine. You take it when you need it, and there's no limit. She pushed off the sink. Think you can walk out of here? We can go to their office. Like, literally right now. We? Sabine stopped dabbing to turn her head. Yeah, I'll go with you and then take you home. You don't look like you should be driving at the moment. Jasmine walked to the door and reversed the deadbolt. When it clacked open, Sabine was surprised she hadn't heard it lock in the first place. She followed Jasmine, throwing the towel in the trash bin. You don't know where I live, Jasmine. Says you. Let's go. She opened the door and stepped out, pausing to look both ways down the hall. She turned back to Sabine and waved her out, gesturing toward the wall. Sabine followed Jasmine's direction, taking the wall track, the other woman a walking, talking, protective shield between her and the world. Her mind whirled as they walked quietly down the plush carpet to the managing supervisor's office. Jasmine knocked once, sharply, and opened the door without waiting. Excuse me? Sabine shrank back, Kendall's irritation evident. Jasmine popped her head into the crack. Hey, boss, Sabine's leaving. She needs more bereavement time. I'm taking her home and don't know when I'll be back, so mark me as using sick time. Thanks. She shut the door amidst Kendall's sputtering. Jasmine, what are you doing? Sabine choked. We need permission. She looked at her then, eyes glittering and hard. No, we don't. Stop asking others for permission to take care of yourself. You'll never get it. She guided Sabine by the elbow to her desk a few feet away. Get your stuff and meet me at the elevator. Sabine said nothing, made no move to gather her belongings. Jasmine rattled her arm. Sabine, she hissed, come on. Be strong just a little while longer. I'll meet you at the elevator. She moved away briskly, heading toward her cubicle near the outer wall windows. Sabine looked at her desk, the meandering sticky notes, the printed charts, and the different colored pens she used to track funds through accounts. She couldn't leave it sitting out. Quickly gathering it all into a messy pile, she tossed it into the keyboard drawer under the desktop and closed it tight. She snatched her coral suit jacket and the matching purse, pushed in her chair, and walked quietly to the elevators. Jasmine was already there, coming alive as Sabine approached. She jabbed the down arrow with the side of her fist. What about my car? For tomorrow? Sabine's voice was small, weak, even to her own ears. She hated sounding vulnerable in front of the other woman. Jasmine clucked. Let's just play it by ear, okay? The elevator ding interrupted any protest, and Jasmine held the door open needlessly with one hand. After you. Sabine stepped inside, autopilot and survival mode kicking in. Jasmine pressed the button for the garage level and they rode down in silence. When the doors opened, she let Jasmine lead her toward a sleek gray Porsche 911, clicking the key fob to unlock and disarm it. She ushered Sabine to the passenger side, opening the door and taking her hand to balance a perfect descent to the seat. Never before had anyone escorted her anywhere with such care and grace or treated her like a lady of worth and stature. Jasmine gently closed the door behind her and walked around to the other side. Wordlessly, she slid into the driver's seat, latched her seatbelt, and pushed the ignition button. The Porsche hummed to life. She glanced at Sabine, a meaningful eye flick toward her buckle. Shall we? Taking the hint, Sabine put on the restraint. Yes, thank you. They returned to silence as Jasmine backed out of her assigned space and turned the sports car up the ramp to street level. It was companionable, the quiet. Jasmine weaved responsibly through the city traffic, moving out of downtown. Just northeast of the city center, a set of twin towers rose above a restoration park and the river. Sabine risked a quick corner glance at Jasmine's profile. She noted the woman's confidence, aimed directly at the towers. Jasmine broke the silence then. You're the North Tower, right? Facing the river? Sabine's brow crinkled. How did you know that? The woman chuckled. Do you know what my position is at the firm? She stopped, suddenly blanking on what the Glamazons actually did other than hang out at the water cooler in the break room. No, I'm sorry. You say sorry a lot, don't you? I'm sorry. Sabine clamped her mouth shut as Jasmine's lips turned up into a warm smile. She laughed. That's all right. It's a weird position. She glanced in the rearview mirror, clicking on the indicator light to turn into the tower's parking lot. Her hand spun the steering wheel casually, effortlessly. I'm technically in logistics, but it's more complicated than that. I'm closer to an internal security guard than anything else, but also part of HRD. Sabine stiffened. Jasmine could yank her employment, could be escorting her off the premises now because she was fired, terminated. Pink slipped. Jasmine looked at the parked vehicles out the window as they passed, clearly looking for a space. Sabine blurted, I can just get out here. The woman shook her head. You're not fired, Sabine. She chuckled. You really are in survival mode, mentally turning everything into a disaster. She pushed the accelerator quickly, spotting a visitor space. What I mean is that it's my job to know exactly where everyone lives. Jasmine made the turn precisely. And do I look like a girl who likes pink? Sabine shifted. Did I actually say that part out loud? Oh no. Jasmine shifted the car into park and killed the engine. Turning to release her seatbelt, she leaned down to catch Sabine's gaze. I said I would take you home. I'm taking you all the way home. Her voice dropped to an even deeper register. Sabine's breath hitched, unable to draw any more air. What is happening right now? Stay put. Jasmine got out, walked around the car, and opened her door. She held out her hand, waiting for Sabine to place hers in it. This whole thing was simply a coworker helping her get home, and yet she'd never even had a date with this much chivalry. She took the offered hand, surprised when Jasmine didn't guide or hurry her, just stood steady, offering strength to lean on if she needed it. Turning toward the entrance, Sabine felt Jasmine fall into step beside her, close but never crowding, letting Sabine choose the pace. She pushed through the front doors and crossed the lobby toward the elevators. Jasmine trailed just behind. Then Jasmine reached past her and pressed the call button. When the doors parted, Jasmine gestured her inside first. She selected the 14th floor without Sabine saying a word. Internal security guard, huh? Silence blanketed the slow ascent. No stops, no chatter, no one else stepping in. The soft arrival ding echoed in the small space. Again, Jasmine held the door open as if it were some grand foyer rather than an apartment hallway. Sabine headed toward her unit, Jasmine shadowing her with the same unintrusive nearness. At her door, Sabine rummaged for her keys. Jasmine extended a hand. Here, let me. Sabine watched, oddly distant, as Jasmine lifted the keys from her fingers, unlocked the door with practiced ease, and swung it open before stepping aside. Home, sweet home, she breathed. Sabine stepped past her into the dim apartment, already reaching for the door to ease it shut. Thank you for walking me up. Really, I'm. But Jasmine's hand caught the edge of the door before it moved more than an inch. Not forceful, just decisive. She slipped inside on the momentum Sabine hadn't meant to give her. Hold on, Jasmine said lightly, as if this were the most ordinary thing in the world. I'm just making sure you're settled. You shouldn't be alone right now. Sabine blinked, the words drifting through the fog in her head. Jasmine's gaze drifted past her shoulder, taking in the space with quiet, unhurried interest. She glanced toward the kitchen. Do you have tea? She asked softly, already moving a few steps farther inside. Sabine stood rooted to the spot. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Jasmine looked back at her, brows lifting slightly, along with the kettle from the stove. Why don't you change into something comfortable? I'll put the water on. She turned instead, realizing the door was still ajar behind her. Slowly, she reached back and closed it, softly, carefully, as though any louder sound might shatter something fragile inside her. When it clicked shut, she found herself standing with her back against it, suit jacket still draped over her arm, purse slipping down her shoulder. She stayed there a moment, frozen, watching Jasmine open the correct cabinet on the first try and pull down a pair of teacups and matching saucers. She moved through the space as though she'd been there before. A small, absurd part of Sabine wondered if she had, or if Jasmine simply moved through the world with an ease Sabine had never possessed. The kettle filled, then clinked softly onto the stovetop. Jasmine didn't look over this time when she spoke, lighting the burner. Sabine, go change. You'll feel better once you're not wrapped up in today. Something in the way she said it, not coaxing, not commanding, just sure, loosened Sabine's grip on her jacket. She exhaled shakily, not realizing she'd been holding her breath. All right, she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. She pushed off the door and walked toward her bedroom, each step slow but steady, as if in a space she didn't know. Shutting the bedroom door behind her, Sabine tossed the jacket and bag to a reading nook next to her closet. She kicked off her pumps and unbuttoned her blouse as she walked past the chair. She let it fall off her shoulders to the floor. Approaching her large walk-in, she slid the elastic waist of her suit pants off her hips, letting them drop beside the white chiffon, stepping out of them effortlessly. Her worn-out college sweatshirt and the oversized gray sweats awaited her inside the closet where she'd left them in her rush to get ready that morning. When she returned to the living room, Jasmine was comfortably leaned back on the sofa, her arm laid across the back, ankle crossed over her knee. She held a book in front of her face. Sabine froze, seeing the title, one of her erotic sub-novels, dog-eared and worn. Holy shit. Dun dun dun.
I'm going to try to form words here and string them into sentences.
What do we have for Anonymous 5? I mean, we got some comments in there.
What the actual fuck?
I just read the words on the page, man.
Okay, first of all, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I know, but for the sake of everybody else, I do not know who this is. I am the
Trisha.
voice of anonymity.
Trisha, no, I need more. They better finish this. Patrick, just this so far, Anon 5, I want more. Where the hell is this book? Where do I buy more?
No, I'm with them. Like, oh,
I can see myself sitting next to my fireplace, either my artificial fireplace or my actual log burn fireplace, with this book in my hot little gay hands with a blanket, going, "Honey, leave me the fuck alone. I'm reading my girls."
right.
I mean, I like the Glamazons.
I do. I
I
like
know.
that, and
Because,
I like that the fact that they're mean girls without being mean girls.
right? That
Because
was
I
the
even
whole
made the
thing.
comment earlier. I was like, "Ooh, Mean Girls."
Mean Girls, because we all know how Izzy does not like reading Mean Girls.
Right.
That was a twist. That was a twist. Mean girls who aren't actually mean but are fine with everybody knowing it.
Well, it's like, oh, they're
Or
allowed to have
thinking
their
it.
damn opinion of us because, well, let's face it, it keeps them from fucking with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, that tracks.
I like the phrase bed drama.
And there's a couple of things that need to be
That was
to
Chef's
be
kiss.
hashed out. Of course, this is a rough draft. Uh, and I'm sure that once Anonymous 5 gets really into writing this, because they have no choice now. Absolutely no fucking choice. I don't care if I have to, hop on a broomstick.
We all have. Who all do we have over here?
Finally able to watch. Did you just get out of church?
Oh my.
Isaac, my brother,
Oh,
is
I
over.
know. I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw it.
So
I'm looking over on that screen. This one, I don't know. I don't know. Little bro, he may want to stop before that last one.
or
No, can we not corrupt the good little boy, please?
Honey, the corruption was already there. It was just hidden underneath
I
that
mean,
good little church outfit.
he's related to Julie.
we just got done with our leadership.
That says it all right there.
He's related. Okay, first of all, he's related to me by marriage. I still claim him as my own.
But that's my point.
But I didn't come in until later in his life, so I have not corrupted him yet.
There's that. Anyway, any more feedback from the comments or whatnot for our Anonymous 5?
I'm surprised we don't have something from Leon. Leon has not said a peep.
Leon also has not been feeling well, and with the time difference,
He might have jumped.
oh, Trisha, I need this book.
Bub, I'll talk to you later about that.
We had 4 submissions tonight. The last one was a author that we know who is just kind of looking for some feedback without any preconceived notions about what it was going to be based on who wrote it, and just wanted some honest feedback. So that's what it was, and apparently there's some desire for this to keep going.
And going and going and going.
That's what she said. I mean,
well, at least that's what the Energizer Bunny said.
all right, Trisha, I
like I
need
said,
this book.
it is a rough draft. We acknowledge all of these are rough drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I get on our show is a rough draft.
I mean,
some of
I saw some typos and some misspellings in there too. So I mean, it's just like that gets the point across.
But it makes me wonder about, because there's something that's not very clear about it.
What was that? I still got it up.
Yeah, I'm guessing stepbrother.
Oh,
like, ambush her out of her apartment or inside the apartment.
I caught that too. Let me.
Okay, I'm just making sure that it's like I'm not trying to be nitpicky here.
Come on, scroll up. Where is it?
I believe
when she'd left her apartment that morning, Jonah sprang out of nowhere, yelling and eviscerating her. She'd been distracted all morning, the accusations ringing in her head. You took everything, Sabine. Just admit it. You stole Dad's money. That was my money. You had no right to any of it. You're not even his real daughter. So it feels like since Jonah is referring to Sabine as not his real daughter and referring to him as dad, they're siblings of some kind.
Yes. They are definitely that. But no, I'm interested to see how that plays out, or if Jasmine ends up having a 1-2 him.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Or
we'll have to see
is there something going to happen between Sabine and Jasmine? Like, is Jasmine just being nice, or was this Jasmine's end to get close to Sabine because she thinks she's cute and she thinks she's pretty and she wants to actually have a conversation with her?
You know what's really kind of interesting was Jasmine's description of her own job.
Right.
Like, she's in logistics. What was that? Like, she said she was in logistics, but she's more like an internal security guard.
Yeah.
But also part of HRD. Now, HR, Human Resources Department. I've seen several companies, including mine, refer to it as HRD, and then other places call it HR. But yeah, logistics. Getting things where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And she knows where everybody in the company lives, and she knew which floor,
which apartment,
She opened up the cabinet on the first try to get the teacups and saucers.
Yeah.
So is Jasmine being nice? Is she doing her job?
Is Jasmine some sort of protection detail that we're not aware of? Like, we don't know exactly. I mean, we know that Sabine works finance,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, for the company. But
Tracking money sounds like forensic accounting.
right. So
Yeah, and Trisha said in the comments, adopted maybe. Could be adopted, you know. Because I know as an adopted kid, sometimes when I got really mad and mother was telling me things I didn't want to hear or do, I was like, you're not even my real mother. I was not always the easiest person. Oh, wait, I'm still not. So, okay. The author shall receive all this feedback because obviously they can see it on replay, go back over it. You can also make comments in general on the thingamajiggy. But yeah, I think that's it. That was a pretty strong show
that
this
was a
weekend.
strong fallout. Yep.
I mean, between a non-4 last night, you know,
Which
Lovebug's
we found out
perspective.
has picked a name. We will find out that name next week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's lots of strong work this week. You all should be absolutely proud of yourselves. Um, we're
And
building pardon me, libraries.
and this week was this week has surpassed any other week we've submitted for.
Mm-hmm.
We had 22,640 words submitted for this week.
Yep.
And we had 11 submissions, which is the most we've ever had in any given week on one show.
Yep. Since we've been tracking it.
Uh,
Yeah. It's and didn't we break 600,000 for the year?
yes, that's what I was fixing to go with. We broke with the final count for this week. We have 600,468 words that have been read out on the show since January. So it is amazing. We're doing great things here. And
We really, really are. So
next
proud of all of us.
year it's just setting us up for more of this.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Don't forget, if you have not signed up for the newsletter, please do so you can get the prompt in your inbox, all the happenings. If you have happenings such as book releases, book events that you are going to. And even if your book is suddenly in audio now, right? We do post in the newsletter the 2 most recent prompters book releases, as well as the most recent audio release from one of our prompters. So, in order to get your information in that newsletter, guess what? You got to write for a prompt.
Right.
Also, if you hadn't noticed in the Discord, when you go and hang out in the Discord, people have different colored names. There is a reason for this. Anyone who has submitted gets their color. You know, we've got members, we've got prompters, then we've got moderators and admins and owners kind of deal. So we and I'm so flippin' proud of us. How many individual prompters have we had for 2025?
We have had 19.
19.
We got more than that now.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
That's
Gail
right.
was thinking as of last week.
Go document stats. Here we go. 21. 21 prompters who have joined, taken the leap of faith, allowed us to share their words. And for the record, just once again, none of the stories that we read out are available for use elsewhere. Do not plagiarize. Our voices cannot, my voice cannot be trained or used to train AI. No. Ixnay. Not allowed. My voice. What I got left of it.
That voice is our precious. It belongs to her, but primarily, hold my pen, Promptcast. We own a copyright on it. It's trademarked. You can't have it.
I mean, he's got a point.
I mean, look, I did not think when I got divorced and I moved into this house and I was feeling sad for myself and, sobbing on the death couch, and that's a story for another time. And just all sorts of just feeling bad. I didn't think that getting on TikTok would lead to me writing books, me being a co-host on a podcast, me flirting with voice over work or voice acting or narration. Didn't think for 1 second that this is how I was going to spend my middle age. And thanks to all of you, every single last motherfucking one of you, I have one of the most fulfilling lives that I never could have imagined. You're my family, you're my village. And when Julie says, don't add to the population, don't subtract from the population, if you get arrested, assert dominance early. And if you do get arrested, make sure you call us for bail money. Yeah, we write at dawn.
Yeah, we write it. Well, technically, we write a little after dawn. I have astigmatism, so it's either we write it dark, or we write it freaking a little past dawn, because
Look, if you
swirlies.
can handle being in the passenger seat long enough for the sun to get past something, I got dark enough shades. Okay.
There we go. See,
there we go. Now, of course, here's the problem. You got to actually wake me up before dawn.
No, that's where I
That
roll
might
you
be a
into.
problem.
That's where I roll you
Yeah.
into the passenger seat and I ride out.
Yep. See, there we go. All right. Hey, Death's Head joined us, and Bitzer K. Hey, guys. Thank you, CD. Thank you. Yes. I mean, I'm pretty open and honest about my life, because since the age of 14, I have said, my life is but an open book. Ask me what thou wilt, for I have no secrets here. I do reserve the right to plead the fifth and the grounds that it might incriminate me, or to tell you that I am not at liberty to discuss. But other than that, we're good.
We are not
All
at the
right.
liberty to disclose certain things, and thank
Certain
God,
things.
or most of us grew up before the age of camera phones, so 95% of our shenanigans are not on tape,
Or they've been destroyed.
or they've been destroyed. I'm pretty sure there's Polaroids somewhere, but they probably been in a flood or three. So there's hard to tell that it's me. Either which way. But any which way, thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with us on our second night of our podcast. Izzy, will you please read us what this week's prompt is?
This week's prompt is yet again our crowd favorite. Use this dialogue. And please remember, anytime there is a gender and a profession, a name, and you ain't feeling it, feel absolutely free to change it for what's going to work within your story. The whole point of the prompts is to spark your inspiration. It's just that. It's the diving board.
No, it's the kick in the butt to get on the diving board.
I mean, that's fair. All right, use this dialogue. You think you've got everything figured out, but you don't, she said, crossing her arms. Trust me on that.
Yep, and Kesha's special thing this week was
mermaids. Use a mermaid or mermaids somehow in your story. Again, it does not have to be an actual character. A reference will do. Hell, the siren on the Starbucks cup. It's a siren on the Starbucks cup, and a siren, mermaids, they're related.
Yep. Okay. Is here to kind of gave half my spiel, but don't add to the population, don't subtract from the population. If you get arrested, assert dominance, call one of us for fucking bail money. We might have to take a collection, but we will ride at dawn. Otherwise, have an amazing freaking week. Get your damn writing done early. Also, we do have Thanksgiving this week. So everybody, please be safe.
If you're traveling,
if you're going to be out on the road,
somewhere else,
traveling, whatever, please be safe. Otherwise, we will see you here next Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel, and it will more than likely be split into 2 shows again if we can get enough people to keep it going.
Give us your words.
People.
Give us your words.
Give us your
words. Make me speak more. Because we all know I love to hear the sound of my own voice.
Well, personally, we love how many characters can come out of you at once. As somebody who has watched you do the voice for 14 different characters in a scene, yeah, it's funny.
Look, and that was self-inflicted.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that one. I was talking about the one scene in Crossroads.
I've slept since then.
Where you had Nikki, Dom, her, all the little ladies, the 2 dads.
That wasn't 14.
It was like
it
9.
was close. It was close.
It got close. But any which way.
All right.
But either which way, we love you guys. We will see you next week. If you are traveling, please be safe. Otherwise, newsletter, Discord, you know where to find us. Bye, guys.
But you wanna when we fly.